Industrial work environments harness tremendous power, and with that power comes a constant, inherent risk of severe injury. Because the stakes are high, these spaces are governed by strict legislation. In the UK, the cornerstone of this framework is the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. Section 40 of this act does something highly unusual for criminal law. It shifts the burden of proof entirely onto the employer. If an incident happens, the organization must prove they did everything reasonably practicable to prevent it. To meet that legal standard, you will need a blank risk assessment form. Select a specific routine task in your facility to analyze as we go through this process. Without a documented, comprehensive assessment of that task, your organization has zero legal defense when an accident occurs. Write your selected task at the top of your form. Under common law, you owe 4 specific duties to the employees executing this work: a safe place of work, safe plant and equipment, safe systems, and a competent staff. Move to the first column and start listing the hazards associated with the task. It is easy to spot a wet floor or an unguarded blade, but you must look beyond obvious physical dangers. Your list needs to account for occupational diseases caused by invisible threats. Consider airborne particulates like silica dust, chemical sensitizers, or the presence of carbon monoxide venting from nearby heavy diesel engines. Next, consider ergonomic risks. This diagram shows the specific mathematical limits of a comfortable human arm reach. Tasks requiring repetitive twisting or manual handling outside these arcs create severe, long-term musculoskeletal damage. A load's danger profile changes dramatically depending on where it sits relative to the worker's center of gravity. A 20-kilogram weight that is safe to hold tightly against the chest becomes a severe hazard if the operator handles it at full arm extension. Now we will move across the remaining columns of your form using the official 5-step risk assessment methodology. Step 2 requires identifying exactly who might be harmed by the hazards you just listed. This includes operators, contractors, and visitors. In Step 3, evaluate the risk mathematically. Multiply the probability of an incident by its potential severity to generate a quantifiable risk rating. For Steps 4 and 5, formally record these findings and establish a mandatory review date. If the assessment and its review date are not physically recorded, the safety protocol does not exist in the eyes of the law. Look at the Control Measures section. This is where you formulate a strategy to neutralize the hazards you've identified. Use the hierarchy of control, which acts as a top-down funnel for problem solving. The highest priority is elimination. Can you automate the task or remove the human element from the hazard entirely? If elimination is impossible, move to reduction and containment, breaking loads into smaller boxes or building enclosures around machinery. The bottom tier is administrative control and personal protective equipment. PPE is the absolute last resort, used only when engineering controls fail. Relying solely on PPE is a failure of system design. It leaves the dangerous active hazard present in the workspace, constantly requiring absolute perfect human behavior to prevent a severe injury. A perfectly engineered control plan will fail if it is introduced into a toxic workplace culture. Transactional leadership is a rule-following approach focused solely on dictating policies and punishing failures. Transformational leadership takes a collaborative approach. It involves employees in creating safety procedures and listens to the localized expertise of people performing the work. Management styles that focus on support and caring have a mathematically measurable impact on reducing workplace accident rates. Safety flows from the top down. An assessment is only as effective as a leader's willingness to champion it and accept feedback from the floor. Consider the completed risk assessment document now sitting in front of you. You have defined the legal baseline, mapped invisible hazards, applied a strict control hierarchy, and adopted a collaborative mindset. Your final step is to take this document out of the office and onto the shop floor tomorrow morning. Present the document to the operators who perform the task. Actively solicit their critiques. Safety resilience is not engineered in a boardroom. It is forged on the floor through shared responsibility and action.